And with Megatron retreating with the Decepticons, that would start the civil war of Cybertron between the Autobots and the Decepticons. But what if it was different? What if Sentinel killed Megatron when he had the chance? How would that change how the origin story plays out in the film Transformers 1? How does it change everything we know going forward? Let's find out on the other side of the Matrix.
The other side of the Matrix.
So let's take it from this point. In the film Transformers 1, the four renegades, if you like, of Bumblebee, Alita, Orion Pax and Megatron have all got their transformation cogs, and they find out that Sentinel is indeed not a Prime, as the vision from Alpha Trion shows them. So they have the evidence to expose Sentinel Prime for the false Prime that he is. How does this change? Well, it leads Megatron to be captured when they raid the Decepticons or Cybertronian High Guard's base. Megatron, Bumblebee are taken prisoner. There is a chance when Megatron's symbol is carved into Megatron's chest that Sentinel could end his life here and now. Let's say, for the purpose of this video, that he does, and Megatron is no more. The first thing you've got to think of is the Cybertronian High Guard, who would later become the Decepticons. Now, they follow Alita and Optimus, but really they're following Megatron. But they have a common goal, and they could still continue to do so to rid themselves of Sentinel Prime. Sentinel Prime will still be exposed following the battle with Arachnid and how it's connected and portrayed on big screens. Sentinel will be exposed for abusing the trust of the Cybertronian people, taking the cogs from them, and just being all round a not very nice guy. The big problem then comes in, well, what do the Cybertronian High Guard do when they want to become Decepticons? Once Sentinel has been captured, they were following D16, Megatron. They weren't following Alita or Optimus necessarily. So would they continue to do so? Would they fall in line? This is where I think Megatron's death would serve as him being a martyr and actually give another cause to the Cybertronian High Guard. They're not Decepticons by this point, they're more or less mercenaries, which is fine. That more or less explains how the Decepticons come and be. They're rabbles and factions and casts off. So for them to then say, we liked Megatron, you killed him, and whilst you brought the guy to justice, we will continue to fight in his name. They won't necessarily sway to Orion Pax's or Optimus's ideals. They will want to have a much more passionate cause to get behind. They were determined enough to get behind a passionate Megatron, but with Megatron dead and being served as a martyr, well, maybe that pushes them away as a mercenary force, guerrilla-like warfare. The Decepticons have been portrayed in IDW as without Megatron, with the war finished, that they can just go into underground and hiding, and they can be led by a concoction of Rat-Bat, Soundwave, Shockwave and Starscream alternating, and yes, it can be done. One other thing this leaves is, without Megatron being in the film, without Megatron becoming Megatron and still being D16, not making that complete red-eye transition, does Orion Pax become Optimus Prime? I don't think so, not yet anyway. For the purpose of the film, Optimus sacrifices himself because he believes they should be better than Sentinel was, and Sentinel should stand trial. It's fair and it's just. It's very Optimus-esque values. But he's not Optimus Prime. He doesn't have the Matrix at this point. Throws himself in front of Megatron's shot that sends him crushing to his death, and ultimately reawakened, reborn, as Optimus Prime from Primus. It's this selfless act, among with many other acts along the way, that Primus takes notice of Optimus. So I think it will come a point where it just happens anyway. Optimus will do another act in the future, but he'll still be Orion Pax for the here and now. And you see him throughout the film, he's getting there anyway, he gets the cog, he takes the leadership role. So there's more to Orion Pax, he's getting there. But it is that final act that solidifies himself as Optimus Prime, sacrificing himself to save his enemy, which is the noblest act that bestows him the Matrix, which he might not get in this instance. That's probably one pitfall, in as much as, well, Sentinel's exposed. Megatron is dead. The Cybertronian High Guard could be a bit of a thorn in Orion's side, but he remains Orion nevertheless, and the matrix of leadership is still yet to be found, which is one of the big plots of the film. So let's go back to the Decepticons. Well, call them what they are, Cybertronian High Guard, rabbles, nails, or whatever. They are lawless. Let's say that Sentinel Prime is taken into custody and he's going to face trial. He's lost the public, he's lost the way, the mines were unnecessary. Well, Cybertron is still without energon, so does mining still operate? That's a very tricky one to say. It's with the releasing of the matrix that allows the flow of energon to happen again. If we're to say in this timeline that the matrix is not granted at this point, is Cybertron still in a barren state? But the Decepticons will kind of be lawless, and actually this would make sense for the opening of the G1 cartoon when you see Cybertron in a very derelict kind of state, low on energon and civil war. Would that be a very normal tie-in? The fact that, okay, they might not have a leader, they may not have Megatron, he may have been killed, but the Decepticons are still there, being an uprising to an Autobot force or Autobot resistance. One is a resistant, one is the one in power, but Cybertron is still starved of resources, which still leads them to leave the planet, go to a planet like Earth, one way or the other, and get the energon that they need. The one good thing to this, if there is a good thing, is that the members of the Cybertronian public, the people, will be on Optimus's side or Orion's side. They'll still choose him as a successor because he's the one who's liberated them from a tyrant's rule. He'll still take a prominent position. He'll have the neutrals on their side. But again, it's a little bit IDW-like, where you have Autobots, where you have Decepticons, and you have what they refer to as nails in between, the non-affiliated Transformers, who do not want to pick sides. And that is possibly the biggest sway in the Autobots' favour. The other point is that the Quintessons are still out there and they are still very much a threat. Now, everyone is aware of the Quintessons, but they had an agreement with Sentinel Prime, and to their knowledge that agreement will still be in place. So this could lead to further conflicts that Optimus will have to deal with. He may not have to deal with the Decepticons right away, he may have to look towards the Quintessons, which the film more or less goes that way anyway. The big points are, with Megatron being killed by Sentinel, Megatron himself could become a martyr. The Decepticons, who are somewhat rudderless, can resort to thuggery and criminal tactics and be a thorn in the Autobot side. And Optimus would not necessarily be Optimus, at least not yet, and would be Orion Pax until such a time as another noble deed comes up, where he would claim the Matrix and restore Cybertron to former glories. And there we go, that's what would happen if indeed in Transformers 1, if Sentinel Prime killed Megatron. It's an interesting one because it is an origin story. It deviates so much off into other timelines and has such a lingering effect. So if Megatron did not make it out of Transformers 1, so much would change. And I think it's really telling that Megatron would be a martyr. He would be seen as a hero. And he would have maybe the Optimus-esque celebrity status that even Optimus himself does not have. But what do you guys think? Leave a note in the comments below. What do you think would happen if Megatron was killed by Sentinel Prime? How would the rest of the film play out, and what would happen following that? Leave a note in the comments below. I'd love to know what you think. But thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share and hit that subscribe button, because I will see you on the next one.